Welcome back to No More Crazy Days. I'm Beth Genly, your host, and today we are welcoming my friend Tanya Lochner. Tanya is a holistic life and success coach who helps busy entrepreneurs create a business and a life that they love while balancing their own lives. Mom to 3 human and 5 fur kids, she lives in beautiful Cape Town, known as the Mother City of South Africa. Her passion for helping women powerfully navigate business, life, and motherhood was inspired by her 16-year career in the finance industry. Infusing a holistic approach in her coaching, she helps women create a life with more balance, more time, and more money to do the things they love. Tanya, welcome all the way from South Africa. Tell us about the weather all the way down there.
Thanks for inviting me, Beth. I'm really thrilled to be here. So the weather in Cape Town is actually quite good. We've just gone through quite a bit of a drought and we've just had some amazing rainfall. So we are so grateful and happy for that.
I'm glad to hear it. I had read about that drought. It sounded pretty fierce. So it's wonderful to hear that it's raining again. I can't imagine winter at the moment, though, as we head into summer. Okay, though. So I understand that change your story to master your story is something that you often tell your clients. And I'm so curious, what does that mean?
Oh, I'm glad that you asked. So Beth, it's really about understanding that everything that we create in our lives, we create our own reality. We write the story of our own lives. And so the moment we can actually take ownership and accept and acknowledge that we write our own stories, we can change that story, become the master of our own lives, take back that control and not feel like we are victim to everything that's happening to us, our circumstances, how people treat us. It's all just the story that we create for ourselves. So it's almost like when you put on a jacket, if you wear that jacket every single day, people are going to start identifying you by that jacket, and eventually you're going to become, the person with that jacket. And that's the very same thing with the stories that we tell ourselves about our lives. And it's actually as simple as taking that jacket off, but not always as easy. So it's really about finding a way to take that jacket off and create your own new story.
Beautiful. In my book, my co-author tells a story about the should suit, where you're putting on clothing that should fit, that should look great, and the more you try to squeeze yourself into it, the more uncomfortable you get and the worse you look. So your story about the jacket kind of reminds me of the should suit. So the challenge, of course, is how you get the darn thing off again. So if you could tell us a bit about how you do that, that would be great to know.
So it's really a very simple 2-step process, which I learned from a personal development coach that I worked with, Jamin Fraser. And so he says, and it's really quite simple and easy. The step 1 is to become aware of where that story originated from, because everything that happens in our lives, we put meaning to it and we create a story out of that we believe and start living every day. So going back to the very first time that you created that story, that you connected that meaning to that story, really helps you identify the source. Often this happens when we are young, so let's say, for example, you believe that you've got to work hard to be successful and be productive and earn a good living, be a good person. It's probably originated somewhere in your early childhood where you saw a parent working really hard, or a teacher, or you heard people saying that, oh, wow, this person works so hard, they're such a good person. And then you also created that story for yourself. The second step is then actually finding proof for your brain to show that it's possible to be different. So actually finding somebody in your close circle or somebody that you know that you can really relate to, who is showing you the opposite, who is living a life where they're not working hard and long hours, where they're working smart, but they're still a good person and they're still productive and they still get things done. So it's a really simple process. It's just being willing to do that work and going back and saying, where did this start? What was the very earliest memory and connection that I had from this? And secondly, where is this person in my circle or in my consciousness that I can really prove to myself and to my brain that it's possible to be in a different way.
So I hear 2 things in there that I want to go a little deeper with if we can. One is, it seems to me that you're talking about self-talk, at least in part. And the other thing is that I think that you can go back and find the source, but then you need to become aware of the moments when it just powers into your brain and kind of takes over your behavior, like a reflex almost. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head. A big part of it is self-talk, but where does self-talk come from? So firstly, understanding that, the most important words that you'll ever hear in your life is the words that you say to yourself. When another person says something to you, there's a part of your brain that can really filter that out. But when you speak to yourself, your brain doesn't know whether it's true or not, whether it's good or bad. It just accepts whatever you say to yourself. Yeah. So if you say, oh, I'm exhausted, or I'm working so hard, or I've got so much to do, or it's just crazy days, your brain is going to absolutely believe you and say, okay, I'm on the job, and it starts creating that situation. I've got a local brain training practice, and I often see this in my clients, where they create this negative pattern where they try and protect themselves. The brain wants to protect you and keep you safe. And so if you've had a stressful situation, even though that situation has passed, the brain keeps looking for reinforcements for why it's in this pattern of keeping you safe. And so essentially you're creating your own stress. So even if the situation is not that stressful, you will go and find those little things as proof that, life is stressful and I need to be in this state. So that's the part about self-talk. So yes, absolutely, you do need to be aware of self-talk and find better positive things to say to yourself. But it's not just a case of switching it to the positive, because your brain might not believe you. You've got to find that proof. You've really got to get really down to the source. And so that's the next level. Is it starts with awareness of, like, what is that deeper belief that I have? If on the surface you believe that, or you say, I want to work less hours, I don't want to work as hard, and even though you believe that it may be negative for you, if there's a deeper belief that you're a good person because you work hard and that's what you need to do to prove your worth in life, you won't change that surface belief. So it starts with that awareness of knowing, where does this come from? What is my deeper belief that I have about myself? And then from there, you can start creating the right language to be giving yourself.
It sounds like it would be a whole lot easier if you had some help with this. It just sounds challenging to me to do it all inside your head, because sometimes I get caught in these really tight loops and I feel so stuck.
Absolutely. So, that's the beauty of having someone like a coach who can help you reflect back and help you do that work, because we've got blind spots in our own lives. We are so subjectively involved in our own lives. And even though, like, I am a real big fan of doing that inner work, the mindset stuff, I journal a lot, I really reflect on these things, but even I cannot see from a sort of a holistic point of view where my blind spots are. And that's where it's really valuable to have somebody who can soundboard for you and somebody who can keep you accountable. Because let's face it, when I don't feel like getting up that day and doing the work, if I know that there's somebody who's going to check in on me and help me stay the course, I'm definitely going to do that work. So it really is so valuable to have that somebody to help you, somebody who's got the tools and the knowledge to help you deep dive. Because it's also, you've got to be really careful when you go back into your life and you think of all these past things. There's a reason why you're sort of putting them deeper and trying to hide them away or forget about them. It's usually because they were quite painful and you didn't have the tools or the skills to cope with them. So it's better to have somebody who does have the skills to help you through that, so that you don't go back into that state and get stuck there. Because when we explore the past, we can often get stuck there, and you don't want to keep living in the past, right? You want to be able to reflect, learn the lessons from it, and then move forward.
That's beautiful. I think that it's so powerful to work with someone that you trust and who is not applying judgment or deciding what you should do. That's a very powerful thing, and it can take a little looking to find the right person, I think, sometimes.
Absolutely. And it's so important to get that judgment-free space, like you just mentioned. Somebody is not going to tell you what to do, but somebody who will be willing to help you facilitate the process of you finding those answers. You've got those answers inside of you. No one else knows you the way that you have, right? So they can never, ever take all those factors, all those experiences, all those emotions into account. But you can. So they just need to facilitate that process, be that objective person who can guide you skillfully through that process of finding those answers from within yourself.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. And Tanya, I understand that you have a free gift for our people that's related to that.
I do. I am offering an empowered life success session. And essentially what I'm going to be helping you do is actually identify where does these negative patterns come from that's keeping you stuck and what you can do to get out of that. So I am going to be sharing some mind hacks, really quick and easy, of how to get around that logical brain that's keeping you stuck on the surface and allow you to actually reflect a little bit deeper to say, okay, this is where it comes from. This is what I need to do, and then get you into that freedom space where you no longer feel like I have to do this and I should do this, but get you to the place where you can say, I want to do this. I want to create this life that I really enjoy living without all the overwhelm and the stress and all the worry that goes along with that.
Oh, I love that. That sounds like something we could all use. Thank you so much, Tanya, for joining us all the way from South Africa. We're just thrilled that you're here and for the wisdom that you shared today.
It's a huge pleasure, Beth. And thank you so much for the incredible work that you're doing around this topic. It's so important because so many people are having these stress-related issues, health issues, relationships, everything falling apart because they're not coping with these crazy days, right? So you are doing really, really amazing work around this. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
And you too.